This is public input listening post from Mason City Council. Citizens have 5 minutes to address council on any item that they wish, and there's no feedback from or comments from the council. And we have 5 minutes. The clock is right up in front. So.
My name's Pat Seifert, and I live at 304 3rd Street Northeast. And I want to thank Don Nelson for bringing this up tonight for a listening post. I think it's great. Maybe we won't have any details right away, but it will give the general public a chance to be here and to at least form their opinion, which there's many against the multi-purpose center, and I'm sure there's people for. So I think this is a great idea. So it's our first one, that's fine. If we have 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Thanks, Don.
Hey, Ms. Stafford. Anybody else?
Hold Millie's chair.
I don't like your chairs. They're killing my back, so my poor little legs don't go down to the floor. I'm not as tall as some of you fellas are. Millie Evans, 671 3rd Place Southeast. First of all, I want to thank Don too. I think people forget we're not working for the council is working for us. And we have a right to say what we want to talk about at these meetings, and we should have them. Anyhow, my main thing is I want to get back to this Papa John micro enterprise thing. I've lived here all my life and I'm for jobs. But I come to the conclusion, why would anybody want to come here? We've had opportunities, and what have you done? You've turned them down. Target wanted to come here. We didn't get them. I heard it was because we didn't have manpower, but I heard from a pretty good source it was because the 2 cement plants didn't want them here. And then one of them left. That's really nice. We had a chance to get a casino. I'm not a gambler, but let's face it, we got alcoholics and gamblers. They're going to do whether we have it or not. They go on busloads all over to gamble. Anybody ought to know that kids aren't allowed in a casino. We were going to ruin our kids because if we had a casino here, maybe some of these people ought to work on these kids for all the vandalism we have in Mason City. And I don't want to blame all the kids. We got a lot of good kids in Mason City. But I don't think it's the senior citizens that are doing this. We have a lot of it. But I do think that we need jobs here, but what guarantee is it that anybody's going to come to Mason City after we turn down opportunities? Nobody's going to want to come here, waste their time and money to try to get something going, and they come to the council, well, we'll vote it down. But I just say we need those jobs, but I don't want to spend my money on trying to get a job here if it's not going, if it isn't going to come to fruition. If it isn't going to be totally completed, why waste the time and money? And basically, I'd like to have jobs here. There's too doggone many people that are looking for jobs. They need jobs. But if you want to work on jobs, that's fine, but think about where we're going to spend our money if it's not going to be completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Else? Oh, yes. That's weird.
Thank you, Max Weaver, Mason City. I wasn't going to come here tonight, Mayor, but you kind of spoon-fed me that motion, and then we got sidetracked without a second. I think Councilman Tornquist and Solberg probably heard you give me that motion, so I'm hoping I'm correct with what I'm saying. We just need to discuss. See, here's what's happened. The issue has become political. The entrances into it's a political question now. That means it's going to be decided by 6 council members of what direction we go. Now, I'm sure some of you were in favor of it tonight, some of you weren't, and some of you probably didn't have your mind made up, like me. I put it on the agenda, and I mentioned both things. I told Jeff, I'm not promising anything, Jeff. I'm going to put it on there. Do we want a full curb to stay with the continuity, or do we want to help a downtown business with your request? I didn't know which way to go. Now I don't know which way to go. We're going to have a meeting next Tuesday. We haven't directed, we haven't discussed anything. You're up in the air. Bill Angerman and staff, Mark are up in the air. So what's going to happen between now and next Tuesday? Are Are you gonna go in and talk to who? Brent? Brent's gonna direct Mark, or are they, you get my drift? We don't know any more than we do coming in tonight than we will next Tuesday. And then it's gonna take 2 more weeks, or the next meeting from next Tuesday, to make a change, because we have to amend the plan. And that's all we can do next. We can't direct, I don't think, the plan next Tuesday. We just have to all we can do is at least that's what the attorney told me. All we'll be able to do next week is just say, look, we're gonna amend the plan. So then that's gonna be another week or 2 weeks. I just talked to Bill Angerman from Wallace and Holland, and Jeff Tierney and Mark Ram. They're all nervous about that. That's pushing the whole envelope down potentially 3 more weeks. And we haven't had a discussion. This is a political decision. Council's gonna make the decision. See, what Mr. Weaver did is I heard from a constituent like we all did. And I said, well, the only way we're gonna get to the bottom of this, because I know I brought it up several months before, at least 2 months before, about that entrance at a meeting. I just can't remember when it was. I haven't researched it. But I brought it up then. I think you had 1 meeting, right, with staff? That's it. And that was left open-ended. So here we are, down to this thing. Well, I put it on the agenda to say, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? We're no further ahead now. We didn't have any discussion tonight. You know, Mayor, here's what I want to leave you with. That little book that you use of Robert's Rules and that tight-fisted way you run the meetings, we need flexibility. You know, with our last mayor, Mayor Roger Bang, I got to tell you, he got my vote. That mayor got my vote to bring Plan B back to support the hotel and the bank. He got my vote to do the streetscape and the whole Vision Iowa project. Even though it made me sick to my stomach, the 25 million of it or whatever, 20 million of it. I supported the 2 buildings, but we got taken in there. I got to tell you, Mayor, he was a, what's the political thing they say? He could communicate. It wasn't all about his ego or his this is how it's going to be. I run the show, and that's the way we're going to do it. You know, he had the ability to talk to all of us and keep stuff alive and keep it open. And that's what he did to me. I got to tell you, Mayor, you don't have the ability with me to do that because you're just too closed off. And this is my opinion, but you're just too hardcore and closed off and tight-fisted with the rules. And we need to be able to have some flexibility when we're talking. We're no longer, now it's my responsibility to go to Brent or Mark or get my 2 cents worth in. And like you said tonight, didn't you talk to your colleagues? Didn't you talk to staff? Well, yeah, I did. But that's only part of my job. The people I really count on talking to, Mayor, is the citizens. I've said it over and over many years. The best ideas come from the citizens. Sometimes before the issue, sometimes after the issue. But that's where the best ideas come from. It's not necessarily my colleagues up here, or someone highly trained in engineering and this is how they see it. You know, there's not a lot of flexibility in that industry when we get down to it. There's not a lot of flexibility when we ask the finance director for more money. You know, he's pretty close to the vest. So things become political. That's why we pay taxes in America for representation. We get to elect that representation every 2 years or so. So I would hope that you would lighten up more. I don't see us being any further along. I don't know what we're going to talk about Tuesday night. I think we've set up a meeting with Jeff, Bill Angerman, and Mark Ram. You're our only chance to come up with something, a plan B, so to speak. And if you can't find that, then you get on the horn Tuesday and start calling council members again and say, this is what I need. Maybe you'll even be able to have a chance to talk to corporate by then too. But I'll be there for you to represent some of it. I can't promise you anything, but I'll be there and I'll be open-minded. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? All right, we're adjourned.
Just one thing, best ideas come from citizens. That's
Right.
why we have a listening book.
That's right.
Thanks, Max, for saying that.
I didn't know. Let's do that. What happened?